All right, I'm gonna head into town and at least check my postal mail today and see what's going on. Wanted to do a quick update. It's been about a week, I guess, since I did the last one. Um, in a way, it feels like I haven't gotten anything done, and then I realize I actually did. So let's go outside and see that part first. Then we'll come back and check things out here. We're still in monsoon, although we have not gotten very much rain. It is very overcast today. There's rain happening over there. Yesterday, I think it was, I got about 2 minutes of rain in the morning. It didn't even get the ground wet, right? So that's kind of what we're seeing right now. Is this is not like other monsoon years so far. The big thing for today, though, I finally closed up the soffits and fascias and eaves. Got vents and everything, so there is a drastic decrease in the amount of bugs coming in. It's like almost none. I do have some gaps I can work on. I'm going to probably buy some painting caulk and patch up some of that, but for the most part it's not too bad. It's definitely better than it was. Now, that's really the only thing that happened in the last few days on the house build, really. It's kind of like the last month, it's felt like momentum shift has slowed down considerably. Let me think, did I turn the power on? Like this would be an example. I got that gap on that door. Now we got power, flip the switch. So for example, there we go, get some lights going here. This is the little workshop in the back of the house. This is what I call the tinker shop. Normally this is not going to be for like woodworking type projects. This is going to be for, robots and spaceships and stuff like that. But all of the wood I needed for closing up the soffits and fascias, you can still see light through the vents, but it's a lot less, right? So all of that wood was sitting back here. I had the workbenches, two more workbenches in the middle of the floor, and then the wood was stacked up on top of that just to have a place to put it because it was sitting on the floor up there and needed to move it around. It was kind of a mess. Well, I needed those workbenches to stand on to do the soffits and fascias. So I got to clean everything out again. And I did all the drilling on that side. I drilled them all with a cordless drill, and that was just killing the batteries. So I'm like, oh wait, I do have a drill press. So I rigged that up and changed a little bit about where the holes were for the vents because the holes on that side didn't reach. This is a little tiny drill press. So I redid the plan, and this worked great. It's a little bit underpowered, and turning a 2-inch or so, I think it's a 2-inch hole saw, needs a lot of power, but if I took it slow, it actually worked pretty well. So glad I bought it. It was like, yay, everything I own for tools now is basically all cordless tools, and so I don't have an electric drill that you can plug in, right? Except for the drill press. And so my electric cordless drills were getting thermal overload from it being hot, and I'm trying to drill a bunch of holes repetitively, and you just have to give up after a while, put the drill in the freezer, let it cool down, and then you could drill a few more holes. So that wasn't very convenient. This thing, I just drilled all of them in one shot, and we were good. And I had enough room to work it in here. That was the biggest thing. This is about a 12-foot by 12-foot room. So that was pretty cool. Still kind of working through the chaos in here a little bit. A lot of the wood got moved over to the other shop on the other side of the bus. I think this pile I'm going to move over there now too. I still want to put some more shelves up. I've got those two pieces there. We'll go on this wall. I'm probably going to build a shelf on this side and maybe a shelf on this side to put more of the tools and chargers and stuff like that. But yeah, we're getting there, A little bit of it is like reactionary. I'm like, I need a place to put that thing, so I'll just push it under the desk or under the workbench. And that works for a while. So we're kind of getting there. I don't remember if this was on the last one, but I do have a DC wire coming in here, so I can run basically just the stereo. And this is how I can check my voltage on the battery bank out there. We're sitting at 12.5 right now. It's pretty cloudy, but it's working. This was from a long time ago, I think, but I don't know if it ever made the video. I finally got a remote switch wired so I don't have to walk out to the battery box. When I first had the wires set up in the bus, like a year ago, I had a remote switch. And then when I moved the battery box out here, oops. So the battery box is out there next to the generator where the solar panels are, because it needs to be close to the solar panels. So I'd have to walk out there and hit the switch to turn on my power in here. So I finally did hook that up again. Just a remote switch. Now it's dark again. That has been there for a while. But I was looking at it, I'm like, well, it's just a simple turn on the signal. It's not, the power isn't running through it, it's just remotely turning it on. So I bought 500 feet of doorbell wire, which is what this is. And I just grabbed one of the light switches, and it's like, it doesn't care if it's AC or DC for that, it just needs to turn it on. I'm like, let's just use that then. Easy. And I had it. You know, that's kind of the big thing. I think this has been on the other video, but just in case it hasn't, this is, there we go, a LED work light. I just set that on top of the trusses for now. And when I wired the ceiling of the shop, I've got a few plug-ins in between the light bulbs up there. So you come over here to this switch, and that turns on and off those plugins, and I've got one on the other side. So when I tested electrical, on the inverter, I checked that when I had all the lights wired, I turned them all on, went out to the inverter, and I think it was 180 watts for every light in the entire house. I'm like, that's awesome, because these are LEDs, they don't use very much. This thing I think uses about 30 watts, something like that. I've got these two green work lights over there. They use about 15 watts each, you know, compared to the old 1500 watt halogen work lights we used to have, you know. That's important when you're running solar. Anyway, so that's kind of the update, not update kind of thing. Last night was the first time I've tried this though. After dark, I usually run like absolute minimum lighting in here because the bugs, it's just you get, if you have a light, you will have a million bugs because there's no other lights within half a mile of me. And you'll have a light outside and you'll just see everything swarming. The ground will be crawling with bugs. It's crazy. So I find myself feeling like I'm in the 1800s. I go to bed sometimes at 8:30 at night because I'm tired and it's dark. And I'm like, you know, you just feel yourself wanting to go to sleep early and then you realize it's only 8 o'clock. That's not me. I usually go to bed at midnight, you know, or something like that. So for a test last night, I turned on the one overhead light over my desk and I worked until about 10 o'clock last night, I think. And a couple times I just stopped and noticed that there was only one bug that I could see. And I'm like, that's awesome. You know, I can work after dark now. You know, it's just a funny thing, but if you get used to, I literally like this kind of light here, or, you know, some little rechargeable lights, or, you know, a little flashlight there. I'll have one little light, you know, and I'll put it away from me. The bugs will be over there swarming the light, and then I can sit here and work on the laptop or something like that. Anything else? Okay, I wanted to do a quick update. Subscribers as of a couple days ago, 858. So we're getting there. Thank you very much. Welcome to all the new subscribers. I did have enough come in. I've made the August land payment already, so that's huge. I also have, it's probably at the post office now. That's why one of the reasons I want to go in and check mail. I'm pretty sure one of the parcels of land has sold, so anybody watching for that. I was selling 3 of the 20-acre parcels, so one of them is sold, so now I've still got 2 parcels to pay for, and basically 2 are, well, I paid off one, sold the other one. Okay, so that's good. That helps me out a lot. Oh, I don't remember if this was on the last video or not. Last year, I made up an earlier version of this. This is my off-grid swamp cooler. Now, if you're familiar with swamp coolers, this is no big deal. Basically, in the desert, if you can get water to evaporate, that takes heat out of the air. So this is a Home Depot bucket. There's a little tiny 12-volt pump in there. I power this from a drill battery. I pump water from the bucket. It comes up through this clear tubing. I punch some holes in the tubing. The water dribbles down, soaks the blue mat. That is actually real swamp cooler media. You can buy it in a roll. I got that from Amazon. And then you run the fan through it, and it does cool it down. A few days ago, I had 110 degrees here in the house because I don't have insulation up on the roof yet, on the ceiling. So it was pretty uncomfortable. So I'm like, yeah, let me go find the parts for this one. I had an older one based on a box fan, and it was so big and cumbersome, and the box fan doesn't blow very good air. So I figured, well, let me make a smaller version. So I cooked this one up. Now, you want to be careful if you're pumping water onto a fan that's electrical. This is an AC, regular house current fan. So you want to be looking at that if you're going to make something like this. Now, this will work great in the desert, but it doesn't work if you're in humidity, because you're adding humidity to the air, and there's no evaporation if you're at 100% humidity. It doesn't do anything, right? So that's when you need the air conditioner. But for out here, because I'm running the water pump off of a little battery, that doesn't use any power at the moment. I can recharge the battery later. And the fan uses very little power compared to an air conditioner. So if you had the air conditioner, you'd have to run the generator. This will run off of solar, and I can recharge the little battery later. Okay, so it's simple setup. From a safety point of view, yeah, it's probably not quite ideal, but all the electrics are way back here, and the water just runs straight down. So just make sure if you do something like this, don't have the water spraying onto the motor, and you'll probably be okay. Yeah, worked good though. In testing, because I have this little digital, oops, there we go, little digital thermometer. Because it was 105 that day, I think. I don't know if this will show up or not. It records high and low. There's 110.1 degrees as the high, and that was reset on the 1st of August. Yeah, hot. Anyway, now it's not perfect at all, but it did make a noticeable difference. If you sit close enough to it, you can feel it. With the thermometer, I just clipped it right on the front. I had an air temperature off of the front of the blue pad at 85 degrees when it was 105 in here. That's amazing for virtually no moving parts, a little tiny pump and a fan. Now, if I'm, 2 feet away, no, you don't feel it as much, but it did help a little bit. And if you sit close and just kind of like, it's like the opposite of sitting close to a fire, you put your hands out, you could feel it was very cold right in front of it. And when it's that hot and you just don't want to move, that helped. So room to improve, but it did work. So there's that. Otherwise, nothing really earth-shattering. Land payment for August is made. Subscribers 858. We're doing on average about 2 a day so far. That's still pretty good. The parcel of land that I sold, when I get the money for that, I'll pay off the land, or I'll pay off that section and deal with the paperwork on that. And the way that I wrote that deal is there's enough left over that I should be able to live for a month or two off of the remaining part, because I had a down payment or worked into the deal, so it wasn't just take over the actual balance. So desperate times, yeah, we should be okay. Jobs, I did have an interview recently, and then you wait. Yeah. Never know. Anyway, that's about it for now, I think. Let me do my thing here. Yeah, it's not too bad. Get far enough away so it's not so scary. Yeah. Anyway, so nothing really earth-shattering. If you like the swamp cooler, go ahead and try it out. If you were going to play with that, I mean, if you just took a wet towel and hung it across the front of a fan, the problem is you don't get a lot of air blowing through the towel, but it will cool. Okay, I mean, you get the same idea if you spray water on yourself and then you sit in front of the fan, right? Yeah, so that's not earth shattering, but it does work. Um, anyway, yeah, thanks to everybody who chipped in on Patreon and PayPal. Much appreciated. You got me through the month. And then we kind of go from there. For anybody who hasn't yet subscribed, if you can, that does help me out, because when I do get to 1,000 subscribers, then I can start actually making some money from YouTube. It's not going to be enough to do, land payments right away, but maybe it'll pay for the cell phone. That's a start. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for your support. Give me the big cheesy thumbs up, and I'll see you next week or whenever I get around to doing another update. Bye for now.